I'm so happy for Brandon because you look at what he's done this year, comes back to Joe Gibbs Racing, and you're curious what's it going to be like for him because Junior Motorsports just did not bear a lot of fruit when he went over there. And the reality is this season did not get off to a great start, but in the last 4 weeks they have really, really performed. Didn't get the finish they deserved last week at Martinsville, but across the board they have sure noticed they can be a part of the equation. A good run today will build some comfort above the cut line, and he'll be one of those drivers we're starting to talk about as a playoff contender.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because you want to get the result, but I would tell you for confidence and team morale, running well, even if you don't get the finish, builds as much confidence as anything.
And he's right behind the 16 of Christian Eckes, rookie driver, running third right now, Dylan.
Well, we saw Christopher Bell backslide there at the end of stage 1, and we heard that he was really, really free. Car was just over-rotating, and we have some visual proof of that as well of the tires that came off of the car after the end of stage 1. So he was struggling with the balance, and you'll see that here. This is the right front. You can see on the left side of the picture, that's the right front outer sidewall that is sort of blistered or delaminating, whatever term you want to use there. So that was what he was struggling with, and that's why he fell out of the top 10 after leading for almost 30 laps at the start of this race. So a little bit back.
When you start looking at that playoff cut line, Chase Elliott trying to get a couple. He drives around Brennan Poole. David Starr in the 53 was there as well. He's a lap down.
Yeah, he's been 3 wide on the top, and now he's 3 wide on the bottom. At 17 car, a little bit of damage on the right front, but looks to me like the pace is good, and he's been able to generate big runs off the top of turn 4.
The comeback continues for the 19, trying to race his way through there. And what great battle there. Carson Quapple fighting him on the inside. There goes Quapple by.
Yeah, Carson, not sure who's passing who right there.
I mean, it's been like back and forth.
The one was pretty aggressive right there of getting back by him. I would have thought if the 19 had that run, they would let it go.
84, nice and smooth. Think about what you need in your car here.
Going back to the tire on Bell's car, as tough as that is to have high wear issues, at least it's at the beginning of the race, because typically that gets better as the track rubbers up, and you knew something had to be wrong because Bell ran so well at the beginning of that run, and he was just fading like crazy at the end, so that made me feel a little better on my situation. But it's hard to adjust on your car when you have that issue because you don't know that at the time when you're making the adjustments.
Austin Hills had a lot going on today. I mean, you think about the way qualifying ended, you have to start this race in the back, deals with some issues mechanically even before we go green. They've been all over the place. He's 17th, and look out, a full handful as he comes down the back straight.
I think it's good that they both got loose because they kind of were parallel to each other as they got loose off of turn 2. It's really rough over there. You see those cars get out from underneath so many guys. Sanchez doing a good job running that high line, generate that big run down the front stretch. I thought they were going to run a little better based on practice and that first long run. I mean, he was the top of. Go back and take a look right here. These two guys coming off turn 2, kind of almost the same move at the same place. But Sanchez was good on even the 15-lap average. But you know, he had to go out in that first session. You just wondered if they get a false read on that car based on the track being green.
Let's go to 48 throwback, and this is an interesting one. So many times you do it NASCAR to NASCAR, but this one NASCAR to IndyCar, and throwing it back to 1975. Bobby Unser in the Indy 500 is second of 3 victories there. And the connection is car owner Scott Borchetta, who had such a relationship with Bobby Unser and was proud of this paint scheme, no doubt about it, entering the weekend. Let's get some 48 radio. Rookie right now running 16th.
You know, the one common thing that you hear from so many people at this track, and everyone fights it, is the front never turns good enough, but it's always too loose, and a lot of that just comes down to the lack of rear grip. And then when he talked about the 2 ends being different, you're almost always freer in turns 1 and 2 because of being a wider sweeping corner than what you have down to 3 and 4. And this track does offer some options. You know, if you're tight, you can move down and run a little lower on the racetrack. You see the 42 car of Anthony Alfredo. When you get your left sides below those little white hash marks, the car will turn a little better. It de-wedges it, helps it free it up just a little bit. But man, if you're too loose in 1 and 2, that corner just seems forever long, trying to get the throttle down and get a good exit.
starting to think about, free pass opportunities, and we talked about the situation for Jeff Burton, who had the unscheduled pit stop. He's now